Hey everybody, happy Monday night. I am checking in with you again on my weekly Monday night get together to talk a little real estate and also talk about some of the other stuff that's going on. I missed last week. I apologize to those of you that were asking me what was going on, but I was at a KISS show last Monday and couldn't do a live thing from backstage for a myriad of reasons. So I'm back now in town and working hard for you as a realtor. I hope everything is going good for you guys this week. I just wanted to go over a couple of things. There is a really big deal going on right now, at least in the Twin Cities, maybe where you guys are too if you're watching out of town, that talks about guaranteed sales programs. And I just did a blog on it today, and I think it's worth talking about real quick, that it's not as it appears, and you want to think twice if you're thinking about listing your home for sale and doing the guaranteed sale route. Typically what ends up happening is it's really more of a reason for that realtor to just get their foot in the door. They know you're more than likely not going to want to go with the plan, but they make it sound really good, get their foot in the door. And when you say, well, gosh, that's giving up an awful lot, they say, well, no problem. I'll just list your house like normal. So just a quick little rundown of a guaranteed sale program is they typically will give you a reduction in value, maybe 10% or so. They'll also stack it with higher commission fees as well as holding costs, and in some cases, even seller paid closing costs. So by the time everything is said and done, you're giving up $30,000, $40,000. It's real money. And I don't understand why anyone would do that, because that's a lot of money for a lot of people. It is for me. And I'm thinking, for the small amount of aggravation in this type of a market, you've got to put up with some showings, keep the house clean for a couple of weeks. But if I can put an extra $30,000 or $40,000 in your pocket by doing it, the right way and exposing it to the maximum amount of potential buyers, that seems to me like a better route to go. So think of it this way. If I said to you guys, hey, I want you to come sit in a house for me for a couple of weeks. You got to live there, maybe 3. You've got to keep it clean. You've got to say yes to all the showings or most of them. Leave for a couple of hours when the showings happen. Come back, make sure that everything is tidy in the house, and just keep doing that until we get the home sold. I'll give you $40,000 for 3 weeks of your time. Who would turn something like that down? They make it sound like, oh, you're just going to have a little bit higher house payment on the buy side because you're giving up some on the sale side, but it's real money. Another way to look at it is if you had $30,000 left on your loan right now that you could pay off, or you have to keep paying on it to finish that payoff, that would probably put an additional $10,000 worth of interest over the next several years in your pocket as well. So it just doesn't make sense. And it's that old saying, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Moving on with a little more real estate stuff. The market is really, really hot right now. I've had a lot of questions from new buyers that are new to the situation, new to the market, what to do. First thing you want to do, and I've mentioned this before, is sit down with a loan officer so he or she can go over everything and give you an idea of what your payments are going to be so you find your comfort level. But equally important, something that was brought up the other day by some clients of mine that I thought, gosh, that's a really good thing to answer, is just because you're approved for a certain amount of money doesn't necessarily mean that's what you'll get. Meaning that, let's say you go in and you're approved for a $300,000 loan, but you only want to spend maybe $250 on a house. That's fine. But if you buy a house for $250, the bank is going to loan you the $250,000 minus your down payment. They're not going to give you $300,000 to fix the place up. So you're not going to have an extra $50,000 to work with. There are some programs out there like a 203K loan through FHA that you can utilize, but there's a lot of hoops you have to jump through. So one of the things that you want to consider when you're thinking about buying a house is, do we want to buy a house that costs less where we can do a lot of the repairs on our own? Or do we want to buy one and spend a little more money and buy one that is more of a move-in ready proposition? So you have to kind of gauge your skill level and know kind of where you stand and what's going to be comfortable for you to help make the decision. Because in some cases, buying it for less and fixing it up, if you have the ready cash to do so, can be a great way to build equity, whether it's finishing a basement, remodeling a kitchen, whatever it might be. If not, you may be better off just literally buying something that's more move-in ready, because you don't have to spend the money then. And for every $10,000 that you borrow, it's about $50 a month in a payment. So the difference between, a $250,000 house and a $260,000 house is really only $50 a month. So there's a lot of different ways to kind of go through this. And again, sit down with a loan officer, have them help you answer questions. Chris Beadle is a great one from Amic. He will answer questions for you. I met a really nice guy today from Gold. I think it's Gold Star. He's great too. His name is, oh gosh, I'm sorry. Forgive me. But we have options for you. Funny story. I think it's important that when you're showing a house as a seller, make sure that everybody that is living in the house is aware of the showing time. We had a situation once where I had a young couple. We were out looking. We were approved for the showing, and we showed up, and I always say hello when I open the door. We go in, we're looking around. We go upstairs to discover the son didn't bother to set his alarm. Okay, well, that's understandable. But it was quite a shock when my clients walked into the room, and there he is, all of him in his glory, completely naked from head to toe, laying spread eagle on the bed, sleeping. Needless to say, that was something that really kind of turned off the buyers, and I don't blame them. So please make sure that everyone gets out of the house when there is a showing so that the buyers can feel comfortable. Music. So there is a charity auction coming up this weekend in Eau Claire that I'll be at doing photos for. It's tied to Wade Asher's foundation with Rockfest and Country Fest. And then the next thing I believe is maybe REO Speedwagon coming up at the Mystic Lake showroom. Then there's also the Hairball 20th anniversary at the Myth. So if you guys don't have tickets for that and you want a great evening of loud, bombastic rock and roll, go to, I think you can get it at Ticketmaster. You can go to hairballonline.com to get tickets. They're a great band to see. They're always a lot of fun, and they have Blue Felix opening up for them, and also Pork Chop is going to do a set, and he's quite an incredible blues guitar player. So it's going to be a great night of music. Come on out. They've got VIP packages, meet and greets, fun stuff like that. I can tell you a little bit about what I did last week. So we had that incredible... Thanks to everybody that went to that. It was a great success. We had a ton of people there. Everyone was wonderful. He was so happy and he had a great time. We'll post the question and answer here online in the next, I don't know, probably month. But then after that, we went out to this house on Lake Minnetonka for a Matter event that Gene Simmons was at. He was kind of co-hosting. And just the most wonderful group of people out there. It was a $16 million home. It was one of the most beautiful homes I have ever been in. And they have 2 bars. And the basement actually had like a sub-basement, if you can believe this. And the whole sub-basement was nothing but a huge theater with a stage, instruments, fully mic'd drum kit, a PA system, and everything. And people were having a great time, and they were singing karaoke. It was a wonderful event. They raised money for Matter. If you are not familiar with what Matter is, it's a local charity here in Minneapolis that I do some work with. Gene's also affiliated with it, and Tommy went out there and made an appearance and talked with people. They do a lot of charity work here in town by putting together meals for children. So it's very similar to the other charities in town, like Feed My Starving Children. But the other thing they do, which is really cool, is they'll take those old metal shipping containers, like you see on the docks in Long Island, and they will transfer them and convert them into makeshift hospitals. So they'll take them over to Zimbabwe and other parts of the world for people who don't have hospitals to go to that want to have a baby. So now women can deliver their baby in a clean and sanitary environment because you've got these makeshift hospitals. They also will put pumps in them for bringing fresh water to the villages in different areas in Africa. And then they also have converted some of them into almost like workstations with Apple computers, so the young kids can get a chance to work with computers and learn about coding and writing things and making apps. So it's for education, it's for health, it's for human services. It's Matter, Matter. So if you guys are looking for a charity to get involved with, they're always looking for volunteers. If you can give some money, that's wonderful too. But look them up; they're wonderful. So that's kind of what happened this week. Other than being in the KISS bubble, I'll share a little more with you about that next week. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. If you have any questions about real estate, please give me a call or send me an email. Check out my blogs. Check me out on Google. If you know anyone that wants to buy or sell in the metropolitan Minneapolis-St. Paul area, please give me a call. I would be honored to help them. I hope you guys have a great week, and thanks so much for hanging in there with me like this. Have a wonderful week. That's all I got. See you next Monday.